Welcome everyone to a new episode of Leveraging Real Estate for Freedom. Today we're talking about watches versus real estate as an investment. Now keep in mind, I am a full-time real estate investor. I am not a full-time watch trader or collector, meaning that I have more knowledge and more experience with real estate than I do watches. So this is based on my personal experience and my opinion, all right? Everybody have an opinion and I have mine about this. Let's talk about the point of entry for watches and real estate. Anybody can get into watch trading or quote unquote investing at any given time, all right? It doesn't take much to get into investing watches. I mean, you can buy watches for as low as a couple $100. You can get into thousands, tens of thousands to the millions of dollars. But most of the time, I think the trading range is anywhere from $5,000 to, I don't know, $200,000. Let's just say that. For real estate, however, the entry level is pretty high. Okay, if you're talking about California, as in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, point of entry is a lot higher. For watches, most of the time when you get into watches, you're either buying with cash or you're buying with your credit card, but essentially it's cash based. For real estate, most of the time it's leverage heavy, all right? It means that a person needs to come in with down payment and they need to leverage their credit in order to obtain a loan to buy the real estate. The point of entry is different, right? Because cash, you can work for cash, use cash to buy anything. You don't need a credit, you don't need background checks, you don't need credentials. For real estate, you do. Not only do you need the cash, you also need credentials to qualify for a loan. And a lot of times that takes years, okay? It takes years of effort to get good credit, to obtain good history in order to qualify for these loans. Now, for watches and real estate in terms of investment, I have one of my favorite dailies. This is a Rolex. This is one of my Rolexes. Just to let you know, I have purchased a good amount of watches. I've always had watches. I've had watches from a couple $100 to watches that are tens of thousands of dollars that cost up to, $56,000, $70,000. For watches in itself, I have never made a sizable return. What do I mean by sizable return? I have never made a 100% return on the watch. In fact, I've never made 50% return on the watch. In actuality, most of the time, I've lost money on watches. And that's just what it is. I do not feel that I lack in intelligence. If anything, my IQ is a little bit above average or above average. In real estate, I've always made money. For watches, it's very one-dimensional. You buy at this price, you sell at another price. You buy at 1,000, you sell at 2,000. Okay, it's very linear. There's no other ways of making money from watches unless you buy watches and you rent them out somehow. But essentially, you buy this tangible thing and hopefully you buy it low and you sell high. That's how you make money. Real estate, on the other hand, there's various ways of making money. For example, you buy real estate, you rent it out, you can obtain rental income. When you buy real estate, most likely you're putting money down and then the rest, 95 to 70% of the real estate value you purchase with the loan. Now, when you buy a property with the loan, there's something called mortgage interest. You're able to write off your interest, you're able to write off expenses, you're able to obtain tax benefits. So not only are you able to obtain rental income, you can also obtain deductions, depreciation, tax benefits, and when you rent out your property, your renters are paying off your debt. So if you buy a home, for example, in California for $500,000, if you have a 30-year fixed loan, in 30 years, the renter would have completely paid off your debt. In addition to that, your property would have maybe tripled its value after 30 years. So there's many ways to make money in real estate, but with watches, very linear. You buy low, you sell high. That's how you hope to make income. If you're trying to establish generational wealth, which one would you go for? To me, that is a very simple question, and the answer is real estate all day. I will give you a very realistic scenario. If you have a job and you have a job consistently for 2 years and you make a decent amount of money and you're able to qualify for a loan, you can get into a property with as low as 3.5% down with the first-time home buyers type of loan program, okay? 3.5 to 5% down. If a property costs you $200,000 and you put 3.5% down, That's $7,000 that you put down, right? It's about the same amount of money you will have to spend to buy a very basic watch. You put $7,000 down, you buy this property for $200,000, and you need a place to live anyways. You pay rent, you pay mortgage, you need a place to live, right? So if you buy your own place, you put down $7,000, and now let's just say this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, or 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It depends where you live and where the property is. If you're just buying the property as your primary residence, you can rent out multiple rooms to help you lower the cost of your mortgage. All right. In the next year or two, maybe you don't want to live there anymore and you decide to rent out the entire house to a renter. Now, let's just say you're 2 years into it. You have 28 years left on your loan. Usually loans are about 30-year fixed. You have 28 years left on your loan and you completely rent out your house. And let's just say you bought the property and you bought it right, meaning that you bought the property with the foresight that you're going to rent out this house a little bit later, and that you bought it knowing the future rent will cover all of your property's expenses. After a year or 2 years of living there, now you're moving to a new place and you rent out your current house. Your renter, after 28 years, would have completely paid off your mortgage. Your house is now paid off. In California, after 30 years, your house would have went up 3 to 5 times the original value. So if you bought a home for $200,000, 30 years from now, most likely is going to worth $600,000 to $1 million. This property that you paid $7,000 for. Now, if you pay $7,000 for a watch, can that watch become $600,000 to $1 million? Can it worth that much? Maybe. Very rarely you'll be able to find a piece like that. However, in real estate, every single real estate you buy, if you buy it at the right place, it's almost guaranteed that your renters will, 1, pay off your debt, 2, your property's value will double, triple, quadruple. This is just known fact. You look at California, any 10-year span, property's value has always gone up, in a slope, right? 5 to 10% a year. After 5 to 8 years, it doubles in value. This is known fact. So for generational wealth, it is no brainer to own real asset because you get rental income, you get deductions, depreciations, tax benefits. Your renters are paying off your debt. I mean, there's just all sorts of benefits. You can add value. There's so much you can do with real estate. With watches though, buy low, sell high. That's it. Why are watches appealing to certain type of people? I rarely use a watch purely for time. Fitbit tracks my health metrics. So why have a watch? I think, for myself, I always had a fascination with watches. When I grew up, a watch was a status symbol. Watch, it keeps time. I was taught when I was younger that your watch represents your relationship with time. How do you treat time? Do you value time? Watches for me became anchors of success. So anytime I would excel at something, I would hit a goal and I would make a certain amount of money, I would take a very small fraction of the gains and potentially put away for a watch or buy myself a watch. And now, for me, it's a fashion statement. For myself, it's a constant reminder of the level of success I've established. And for me, I know for a fact that it takes discipline. It takes planning. You need to put away money in order to acquire your first piece. So, when I see people with nice watches, I'm always fascinated. Oh, what kind of watch is that? Who makes it, right? How did you acquire your first watch? Like, for me, it's a conversational piece as well. And everybody have a different relationship with watches. And one thing for sure, for myself, watches are not an investment for me. They're not an investment for me. I don't look at them as investments. I just don't think they are based on all my knowledge and experience. For you to make watches an investment, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, which I'm not willing to put in. Not saying that won't work. It works for people, not for me. Does that make sense? For me, it's a fashion statement. For me, it's an anchor and a reminder of my level of success. For me, it's something that I've always liked since childhood. And for me, it's something that I think I'll just continue to buy watches knowing that I might lose money on them, but I make money elsewhere. And watches is just part of who I am, and I intend to continue buying these watches because of how much I love them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is my opinions and my relationship with watches that I have. It doesn't necessarily need to translate to your opinion. You guys can establish your own thoughts and your own views over time. Let me know your thoughts on this topic, right? Whether or not you think watches are legitimate investments. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you guys next time.